Hi. So, you've decided to learn the tarot, but you have no idea where to start. Well, this video is going to be a good first step for you. Before I say anything about anything, really, I would like you to try to find an answer to a question. And the question is, what is the tarot? What do you think it is? I'm just going to give you some time to think about your answer. And so probably since you have decided to watch this video, you have a basic understanding of what the tarot is. You know that it's a deck of cards, that it comes from ancient times. We're not entirely clear on the beginnings, the origin of the tarot, but we know that it comes from probably Egypt or medieval times. It's hard to say, but it's very old. And you also know that it's used for divinatory purposes. People use it to get guidance on their daily life, on their spiritual progress. So what is your answer? What is the tarot? What is it really? I have come to find that first and foremost, the tarot is a game. And even the origins of the tarot indicate that in the beginning it was used as some kind of card game. But then later on it became a little different. But in its essence, I think that it's still a game. So this is just my opinion, and you're, of course, free to feel otherwise. But my feeling is that the tarot is meant to be enjoyed, and studying the tarot should not be a daunting, dry, boring process. So I don't really agree with those who claim that the tarot should be, broken down into astrological or other symbolical structures, and it should be studied that way. It's a very strict, very for me, it's a very limiting approach. What I think the tarot is meant to be is a game that you play with yourself. And it takes an amount of courage, of course, to start playing this game. Because as you move ahead, you will find that the cards sometimes give you insights about your life and give you directions to maybe unfamiliar places in your own psyche, and that might feel a little spooky. So this is a game that you should only play if you understand that life, that the basic meaning of life is joy, enjoyment, and love. So, first off, my first advice is you should not take the tarot or your own life too seriously, because that might lead to some problems. But if you have a light and curious attitude about life, then the tarot is for you. If you tend to be over analytical, over anxious about things, then the tarot might become like a prison for you. But it's up to you. You feel it inside. If you are overall an optimistic person who likes mysteries and secrets and wants to understand better, or if you are somebody who can be obsessive, and that is, if that's a danger for you, then I would not recommend using the tarot as a game. You can still read about it, but just don't play the game. Okay, with that said, of course, when you start reading, the first step is buying a deck, probably. You can start by gathering information on individual cards, but I think the best idea is to get a tarot deck, and I would recommend that you choose a deck that is easy to read, because there are many decks that are variants of the so-called Rider-Waite tarot deck, which we consider like a basic tarot deck, and if I'm correct, then it is based on the Marseille tarot, so it's a pretty easy to read deck, and many new decks are variants of this tarot deck. So I'm going to be posting useful links, and everything that is said in the video is going to be referenced in the description box. So that's one important thing to mention. And this deck that I love to use is called Tarot of the New Vision, and it's a Rider-Waite variant. The only difference, it's very similar to the original deck. The only difference is that it shows the scene from a different angle. So here you can see the scene of people talking here from behind or from the opposite angle. So that's quite an interesting idea. And so this is a good deck. If you want to start with this deck, then it's okay. I wouldn't recommend starting with the Osho Zen Tarot deck or the Aleister Crowley Thoth Tarot deck, because they are very different and they are for advanced readers. Now that you have your tarot deck, the question is, how do you proceed? How do you learn about the tarot? And my most important advice is that learning the tarot is very different from learning things in school. So just forget about how you were taught in your school years. Forget about conventional ways of acquiring knowledge, about reading books and, researching and all that kind of stuff. That's fine, but the basis should be an understanding that what's the most important element of the game of tarot is is your personal connection with the tarot. That is the priceless, the most valuable asset to a tarot reader, to have their own dialogue set up with their own tarot card. How to do that? Well, first off, you need to understand that the way to learn about the tarot is by making connections. So you will need to use your knowledge, your already existing knowledge about the world, and you need to make connections with the tarot cards. Of course, you should get a basic understanding of each card. So certain keywords, certain basic ideas should be covered before you even start this. But this is a step that you should not miss. I think I will perhaps make another video about this, and also about tarot journals. You absolutely should have a tarot journal, and the format of the journal is up to you. It's one of the ways to build a connection with tarot, is to journal about it. You should start by reading to yourself, and when you feel a little bit confident, then you should start reading to others as well. But we will get to that soon. So, I believe that the best way to start learning about the tarot is just buying a deck, looking up the basic keyword explanations for each card, and start creatively thinking about each card. So start letting yourself come up with associations, with ideas regarding each deck. And like I said, you should absolutely capitalize on your previously existing knowledge. So whatever you are already an expert in, so for example, if you are interested in history or in art or literature or philosophy or any of that stuff, you can absolutely use it. So if it reminds you, if you see an image like the image of the tower and it reminds you of something, so for example the tower of in the Bible, the Tower of Babel, and you can also see this tree here with the apple and the snake coming up. You can immediately start making connections in your mind with that, and you can also have your own personal connections, which is also valuable, but you need to look for the universal at the same time. So you need to establish a relationship with the tarot that is personal and universal at the same time. So you need to understand that this should not come from your ego. This should come from you as a cosmic being playing this game. So thank you for watching the first part of this tarot tutorial series, and I will soon post another video on this topic. So if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe so that you will be notified. Goodbye.